Welcome back to Bash Bros and episodes. Oh god, I didn't check. 65, episode 65, rehearsed it. Welcome back to Bash Bros and episode 65 of Notorious Pro Wrestling, the TEW Let's Play series where we find out what exactly would happen if Conor McGregor started his own wrestling promotion. It is the Fallout show from our Made in Europe pay-per-view, and as always, we'll take a look at the storylines going forward for the next month. But before we do, let's take a look at the pay-per-view just passed. 67, we continued our 67 run of, because we got it for Fear No Man and we got it for Your Bollocks. So we continued, we got the hat trick of 67. It was a pretty solid show all around. The only real disappointment was debuting Deonna Purrazzo, who only really got a 40 in her match against Amy Alonzi. Not going to hold it against her too much. It was her first match, and Amy is not one of our top tier women's talents. Other highlights of the card would have been the main event and of Pentagon versus Ace and Eastern Reese and the Grizzled Young Vets against Hero, Lethal and Grisham. So let's look at the storylines going forward for this month. Going from the bottom to the top, Epitaph versus GTA will wrap up this month. It will evolve into a new storyline with a big debut happening later. This is kind of going to evolve into the Grado Desperation storyline, where Epitaph or Eddie Dennis will get a win over Mark Andrews, leading to Mandrews having to leave the Grado Talent Agency. Then in another storyline, and then this will lead to Conor McGregor warning Grado that he only has Riho left, and that if he is a manager without any clients, his contract will be terminated, thus leading to Grado getting a bit more desperate and trying to recruit people. This will kind of go into the Grado versus, this will spin into a kind of like Grado Desperation storyline. New storyline here is Miles Kamen with Coach Doug versus Stevie Boy. Miles Kamen is probably the most promising of our fight school students, and he recently was taken under as a mentee by Doug in the game. So we're going to bring him in pretty much right away as a mid-carder, and he'll be managed by Doug. So this is going to be his first kind of like entry-level feud with Stevie Boy. It will also lead to Doug kind of getting his own like little faction as the coach. So it'll be Miles and the Billiton Bulldogs, who you will have noticed getting jobbed out left, right and centre. But this will be them graduating from jobber status up to kind of lower mid-card status. Which will then probably lead to Miles versus Easton Reese down the line. Just as kind of like, obviously Coach Doug first came about from him and Easton Reese partnering up. Then Reese turned on Doug. So this will kind of be Doug's redemption or revenge angle with Miles versus Easton. But that's way down the line. Speaking of Easton Reese versus Mark Haskins. So this has been a slow burner this month, just with Easton Reese kind of taking out Mark. The whole thing here is that, the only reason Mark Haskins is in NPW is because Reese gave up his P12 spot. So this will kind of come back around, and then Mark will return this month and face Easton either at the pay-per-view or next month's pay-per-view. The women's Eliminator tournament is continuing. After the storylines, we'll maybe take a look at how that is going. But I say I've discussed already. I already know who I want in the finals, and I already know who will win it, and I'm pretty sure that person will go on to win the women's championship. Crazy Mary Dobson versus Tessa Blanchard will be continuing for another couple of months still. Slow turn here where Crazy Mary Dobson is getting more and more crazy, and will then kind of turn heel. She'll turn heel this pay-per-view and destroy the Women's Championship just so I can get a new design brought in. And this will lead to her actually getting a new manager too. And the whole point of this is that, you know, she's driving herself crazy by promising to win the Women's Championship for her injured friend, Mad Marley Quinn, aka Liv Morgan, but she just can't do it. And then that's what's driving her mad, is she feels like she's letting her friend down. Aussie Open vs Dynasty. I'm still on the fence about it, guys. I am still on the fence. Aussie Open are our best in-ring tag team. They have surpassed Grizzled Young Vets. They're probably on par with Lethal and Grisham, even though they're more like individuals than a unit. So, it's just... God, their mic skills are trash. Their mic skills are so trash. And I can't think of a good manager to bring in, and I just don't know, guys. I just don't know. Hero vs Lethal, still another couple of months left on this. This has gone from friendly rivalry to straight up rivalry, and it will go to blood feud. So we're kind of halfway through this. Also gives Gresham, who has been absolutely phenomenal, a time to shine. Gresham is in a similar boat to Aussie Open, where God, he's good in the ring, God, he's bad on the mic. So yeah, Grisham is going to get a little bit of a push over the next couple of months, but just don't think he's ready for the title just yet. His mic skills go up, absolutely. He's probably our best in-ring competitor, pure in-ring competitor, no pun intended, but just lacking that entertainment value. And finally, Ace Austin vs Pentagon Jr. So small break in this, as Ace will kind of has to deal with a returning Carlos Romo. Big plans for Ace down the line. He's going to get a new manager soon, going to break away from Will Hobbs soon. Carlos Romo going to get a bit of a main event push out of this. And then Pentagon this month is going to face someone else, while Ace Austin versus Carlos Romo at the pay-per-view. So here is how our women's Eliminator tournament stands currently. Kelly Ray beat Angel Hayes and will face either Maiko Satomura or Alpha Female. Debbie Keitel defeated Rachel Ellering and will face either Riho or Raven Creed. Maki Ito beat Jay Adams and will face Deonna Purrazzo in the next round, and Rhea O'Reilly defeated Zia Brookside after interference from Tenille Dashwood and will face either Martina or Nicole Matthews in the next round. So in the quarterfinals, the only match that is decided so far is Maki Ito versus Deonna Purrazzo, and if Deonna can up her game a bit from her debut, it should be a good match. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. Okay, so that is the news covered, that is last week's events covered, that is the storylines covered, and that is the tournament covered. There is really nothing left to do now, other than book the show, so let's do that. Okay, and we are back with an attendance of 241 fans coming at you from the Black Box in Belfast. It is Notorious Pro Wrestling Wanted. So wee bit different approach this time. So the main event is Carlos Romo versus Will Hobbs, but I remember that neither of those guys have particularly good psychology, so they would struggle to go the 20 minutes that our main events, TV main events, tend to go. So I only put them at 15 minutes plus 2 minutes for their entrance, so hopefully they should be able to carry a match for that long. Other than that, no real issues to talk about. But yeah, so let's start the show. In a backstage promo, Alpha Female says even though she is going to retire, she won't retire quietly. Ken Malmsteen then interrupts and gives Alpha Female a rose, flirts with her a bit, and then walks off. 37 promo, no one here is particularly good on the mic, but the reason why this is because with Alpha Female retiring, I was originally going to just let her contract expire, but then I kind of thought about it and I realised why not make her a manager if she's interested and let her partner up with Ken just because they're kind of both European. And I always like the idea of like a female muscle with like a Weasley like heel. It's like a nice flip on the dynamic. Probably says a lot about me. But yeah, so that's kind of what's going to happen here. If it turns out they have bad chemistry, no harm. I mean, we'll just release Alpha and Ken can kind of go and continue to be a jobber. If it kind of works out, Ken might get a wee bit of a push to a lower mid-card heel. And we'll bring in a nice young heel jobber. Next up in a pre-show match that had good heat and decent wrestling, Easton Reese defeated Dean Allmark in 13-19. Dean had a 42 and Easton had a 58. That is again a good result from Easton. Where is he pulling this from? Where was this like 3-4 months ago? Getting close to 60? We might not have fucking killed his main event push if he was pulling out these sort of performances. 54 rated match, which is good. Then on to the main show in a bout that had great heat. Great. In a bout that had great heat and good wrestling, Birds of Prey defeated the NIC in 15-16 when Rich Swann pinned Charlie Carter with the chicken fry driver following interference from Mandrews. Judy Fleisch was the weak link. So Rich Swann got a 57, Jody got a 43, Charlie got a 57, Oshin got a 57, and NXT got a tag team bonus. 57 overall, which is good. Yeah, so say Mandrews interferes in this, bit of payback for the NIC cheating to win whenever they face GTA, and costing the NIC a shot at the tag titles. So this match will set up the Birds of Prey versus Dynasty at the pay-per-view. Dynasty were watching from the ramp and all stand up and collectively turn their backs on the Birds of Prey as they do not consider them a threat. 51 rated segment overall, which is good. Next up in an in-ring segment, Ace Austin is surrounded by security and agents asking Conor McGregor what is going on and why he has not found Carlos Romo. But Carlos is able to still get the drop on Ace and attacks him before the agents and security can pull him off. Conor says he's had enough and that Carlos will face Will Hobbs in the main event tonight to decide if he gets a shot at Ace Austin. 79 rated segment as Conor did all the talking. Next up in a superb match, Meiko Satomura defeated Alpha Female in 15-29 with a Death Valley Bomb. This match was a part of the Women's Eliminator tournament. Alpha had a 50 and Meiko had a 65. Well, what the fuck? Can I have Meiko Satomura versus Jonathan Gresham? I want to see that match. That would be a belter of a match. And they have great chemistry as well. 60 rated match, that is great. Really, really good. Next up, Doug Williams comes out. He returns and introduces his new protege. Pretty sure I spelled protege wrong. Miles Kamen. Miles Kamen got the apprentice gimmick and it got rated great and it got a 44 segment. Not overly surprised. Neither Doug nor Miles are great talkers, but hopefully during a match, Doug will be able to help Miles out. Speaking of which, in a decent match, Miles came and defeated Ken Malmsteen in 9:33. Ken got a 30. Miles got a 50, which is not bad for a mid-carder and someone from our fight school. Doug did give a boost being his manager, and they have good chemistry, which is awesome too. And 44, which is okay. I will take that considering Miles probably doesn't have the psychology to drag someone up to a good match. So 44, basing Miles on his own performance, this is pretty good. And in our main event, in a bout that had great heat and good wrestling, Carlos Romo defeated Will Hobbs in 15 minutes. Carlos had a 59 and Will had a 51. All in all, a 58, which is good. And I think making it a 15-minute match was the right call because they did not get the penalty for poor psychology. And in the post-match angle, Ace Austin is beating down Carlos Romo when Pentagon comes out and makes the save and scares off Ace Austin. Penta then gets on the mic and says, you know what, with Ace being busy now with Carlos, I don't have an opponent for the pay-per-view. And he's been hearing a lot about this guy, Jonathan Gresham, and all these amazing matches he's been having, and he challenges Jonathan Gresham to a match at the pay-per-view for the title. 65 rated segment. So all in all, a 63 show, which is quite good. That's actually really good considering our TV main event was probably not the strongest, so to still get a 63 with only one Conor McGregor promo and a decent promo from Penta is very good, so I will take that. News coming out of our show is that James Storm is getting a little fat. Yes, apparently he has gained a bit of weight and is now considered flabby by the game. It's all that beer. It's all that beer. I forgot to discuss this journey news is that obviously I think I mentioned last time a bunch of contracts were up and all of them are being re-signed, so good luck because we just re-signed Kenny Williams. Kenny Williams we are in the middle of resigning, Mark Andrews, Joe Nelson and Ken Malmsteen. Two people here are different, are Paris De Silva and Jude London. They, since we are kind of upgrading the Billington Bulldogs to kind of lower mid-carders and mid-carders. Paris De Silva and Jude London are the Velocities, and they will be our new face jobber tag team going forward. But yes, that is it for another week. If you have enjoyed this episode, do leave a like and subscribe to the channel for this and many other shows that you might enjoy. Next time you guys will be back will be next week, where we plan on having Hero and James Storm versus Lethal and Gresham, Dynasty versus Dobson and Tennille Dashwood. We'll continue the Women's Eliminator tournament, and we'll also have Eddie Dennis versus Grado. As always, if you have any ideas for stables, tag team storylines, feuds, or whatever, leave them in the comments below and I will try book it for you. And with all that being said, I will see you next time on Bash Bros.